I want you guys to congratulate your classmate here that landed a job as a
That's
DevOps
a
Engineer II.
yes.
Congratulations to you, Desiree, for landing
Thank
that
you.
job. What is the salary, my brother?
It's 135,000. Yeah.
135,000 a year.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations,
Yeah,
bro.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I mean, the floor is yours. This is your class. You're not somebody that invited from outside to come and share their experience. You were sitting here with us.
Yeah.
I just want you to tell us how did this happen this year? Where did you come from with this attitude of yours from day one to where we are here? Congratulating you, my brother. This is no surprise for anybody here, but hey, tell us the story, please.
Oh yeah, so my story, I mean, it's a bit weird. Um, so I went to college. I studied computer science. I graduated in 2020 around the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
But in college, it was only theory based, so I didn't have any skills. I tried to interview. They said, you don't have the skills, you don't have any experience. So for years, up until about 2024, I didn't have any job. So I was doing DoorDash,
Wow.
Uber Eats, yeah. So I felt like I wasted a lot of time, in college, because growing up, you're told, you go to college, 4 years, you take these loans, you spend this money, you'll end up with a job, but it's not the case. These
Can
companies, they
you
don't
stop there a
care.
little bit?
Well, one day, I was watching YouTube and I came across something called Scrum Master, and I saw a lot of, Africans, my friends, they're getting the jobs easily. So I said, oh, okay, maybe this is, something I could do. So um, I started studying to become a Scrum Master, and then I became one, but I got a job. It was only paying about $60,000.
Mhm.
But when I was in the job, I was like, this is too easy. All I'm doing is setting up meetings. I'm
Mhm.
not doing anything technical, so it didn't feel safe at all. So
Mhm.
it was my first job, and I was doing it, for about 8 months, and I was right because they ended up laying off all the Scrum Masters in the whole company.
Wow.
And yeah, and around the time while I was working as Scrum Master, I kept having a feeling I was like I keep hearing about DevOps, cloud, and I was very interested in it. And I was just praying to God. I said, God, I want to do this thing, but I don't know how I'm going to get in.
Mhm.
I feel like I need someone to teach me it. I need a mentor, someone that can guide me through it, because if I just study it myself, I don't believe I could go in and get a job doing this.
Mhm.
And it's like God answered my prayers because one day one of my college friends came to Dallas to visit me, and she was like, oh, I have this guy that I've been dating, I'm talking to. He said that he took um this
The boot
guy's
camp.
class, Cameroonian. He took a boot camp. He did finish the boot camp, but he said that it's very good, so I get you in contact with him. So she called the guy, and I spoke to him, and he was like, oh yeah, there's this teacher. I mean, he lives in Houston, not too far from you,
Mhm.
in Dallas. And he teaches very good. Some people get jobs through him. And I said, "Oh wow, really?" He said, "Yeah, I'll send you the website." So yeah, he sent me the website, and then I saw you there, and and I saw the testimonials of everyone doing it, and somebody kept telling me, this is something that this is what you've been asking God for.
That's
So
right.
I called the number on the
WhatsApp.
website, and
Mhm.
it was Madame, your
Mhm.
wife. She answered the phone, and I was telling her, oh, I saw this class. I'm very interested in doing this. I'm currently working as a Scrum Master, but it doesn't feel safe. It doesn't pay that well.
Mhm.
And she was like, oh yes, we do DevOps and cloud. It's the way to go. It's future proof. You gain technical skills. You need to do something technical.
Mhm.
So I thought about it. I thought about it. I want to do it, but I just kept thinking about it, and then it's like God was like, okay, you have to do this. So that's when I got laid off. I got laid off, and then I called her again. I explained her the situation, and she gave me the chance to do the class. I was in a bad situation. I had to do DoorDash again to just
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
some money in my pockets.
Mhm.
So yeah, she gave me the opportunity, and when I joined the class, I didn't want to let her down. So I
Yeah.
wanted to just give my best effort.
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure that, I was helping people, just, paying attention in class. And I treated the class like a job because, I told myself if I treat it like a job, then, I'll get a job, you
That's
know.
right.
And I remember in class you spoke about manifestation and things like that.
Yeah.
So So basically you said, who you believe you are is what you'll become.
That's
So
right.
in class, I did things such as, keeping my camera on, because I knew how I'm at work, I keep my camera on. I treated Discord like a Microsoft Teams chat, so if anyone needed help, I thought like, okay, if I was working right now, if, a team member needed help, how would I react?
That's right.
So, I made sure to just jump on any, issue anyone had in the Discord,
Hmm.
helping people. And through that, I was able to, learn troubleshooting skills because when you help people, you also learn, you see all
That's
the things
right.
going wrong and you
Yeah.
learn. And yeah, so my back was against the wall, so I told myself I want to, just go as hard as possible in this and hopefully land a role. And um, you know, after some time, going through the class and everything, I was like, wow, this is, very easy. All the things I used to see in the job description, such as Terraform, Kubernetes, things I never heard before. When you first
Yes.
hear them, they sound so difficult, but then in this class, you're doing them, and it's like, wow, this is actually easy. When Prof teaches it, this is is that simple? Oh wow, because they sound like crazy words.
Hmm.
Um, so I got this confidence, but I was still lacking the confidence as far as six figures because when you hear six figures, especially, in our community, not many people make six figures. So I was like, that's
That's
not
right.
possible.
That's right.
Yeah. I was like, that's possible. And I even told you, when I spoke to you on the phone, I said, I'm looking for any junior level role that's paying, maybe 80,000. And you're like, no, no, you need to aim for, 150 and up. I said, what? I said, what?
I
That's
remember
crazy.
I told you, I remember I told you that you were freaking out on the phone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was freaking out. So I was like, dang. And then, I thought about it and I said, who am I not to believe in myself if, Prof's been in the industry for so long and he believes I can do it, then I need to also believe in myself. So, I stopped applying for jobs that were, below that. If it wasn't six figures and up, I wasn't going to
To apply.
you had to apply for it, So I had to have that self-belief. And then I wrote down in my journal that, I'll get a job for 150,000. And I was trying to, manifest that so, I applied and then I started doing some interviews. I did one interview with NASCAR. I was like, oh, NASCAR is a big company, but they're only offering 80,000. But it was when I applied before, we had that discussion
Hmm.
and I did an interview. I made it past the first round. Then the second round, it didn't go well. So, I felt discouraged. I was like, dang, is this really for me?
Hmm.
Then I did another interview. Again, I got the rejection. Then I did a third interview, I made it past the technical round and everything. And then when I made to the next round, I thought I had, did well. So I was waiting to hear back, and I didn't hear anything. And then the job that I currently got, I got a call from the recruiter, um, during the evening, and he was like, "Oh, Desire, we have this opportunity. We'll be able to interview the next day." I was like, "Oh, I don't have any time to prepare."
Hmm.
He said, they're going to be doing Ansible, Kubernetes. I was like, oh wow, I need to,
Rush on that.
yeah, brush on that, brush on that. And I remember there was a project that we did in class, when we pushed from Docker to ECR to ECS.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So I pretty much I spoke to you and you mentioned how about I try doing the same thing but pushing it to EKS and look into
That's right.
that. And then using something called Argo CD. Um, so when I went to the interview, after a little time preparing, I realized that in interviews, when you speak about high level projects, they don't dig deep into you.
Hmm.
So once the interview started, I immediately jumped to that project, spoke about it, and he was like, "Oh wow, okay." And after that, the interview became conversational, and he liked me and he gave me the offer the same day that I did the interview, and it was crazy because that morning, I messaged you about the other job. They sent me a rejection that morning.
Hmm.
So, I was feeling discouraged. I didn't even want to do this interview because I said, oh, I didn't have any time to prepare.
That's right.
So, but, I just said, if I do it, if this, the worst thing to do is say no, and I tell my classmates too, some of them, they've been afraid to apply and interview. I tell them, you won't die, if they say no, that's the worst thing, they're just gonna say no, that's it. But it's on to the next.
Hmm.
So yeah, the same day he gave me the offer, and yeah, I was just in shock. I couldn't believe it. The recruiter called me and said that the manager he's canceling all other interviews after me. He feels very confident with my skills, and I felt as though I owe it to the class and the projects that we do in class. I see a lot of people ask about projects, but everything we do in the class is pretty much all you need for the
That's
interviews,
right.
to be honest.
It's
And Yeah, the class gives you all the tools you need to be successful. All you have to do is just, apply yourself
Believe
and
in yourself. Yeah.
and believe in yourself. And as I mentioned, if you talk about these projects we do in class, I promise you in interviews, they're gonna push you to the next round or even give you the offer. And because that's my own personal experience, you know.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Desiree. Congratulations, brother.
Yes, thank you. I owe it to you and Madame as well. So yeah, you guys changed my life. I never thought I'd make any six figures. So it's a big shock,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very big shock. I think my brother, I think from what you told me, I think now I'm making more than him. So so yeah. Before like he was the star. Everyone was saying he's the one who's made it. But now it's like a big change. They never had six figures in their life. So yeah, they can't believe it. And when I was doing the class, they even said, oh, you're wasting your time. You went to college. You wasted all the time in college, and now you think that just a 6 month
Six
class is
months.
going to
Just
change,
6 months. Class
yeah,
is going to do
change your
it.
life.
It did it.
Yeah,
It did it,
yeah,
man.
yeah, I did it. So even I've been sitting here in class, they would laugh at me. Like I told, my dad would call me to, maybe do something for him. I said, oh, I'm in class. He said, oh, what class? And then he would just hang up the phone, and, so they thought the class was just,
Oh.
yeah, useless. But I knew, deep down, the skills I'm learning. So, when they didn't believe, I just had that self-belief. So I realized, you have to just believe in yourself. People close to you. I remember you mentioned that, and it made me strong. You mentioned that the people closest to you are the ones who aren't going to believe in you the
Yep.
most.
Yep.
The ones
Yep.
who are going to, laugh at you, look down on what
Yep.
you're doing. So,
Hmm.
I just blocked out all the noise and, just had to have that self-belief and confidence that this is going to, all work out. And now they're saying, oh, the class, yeah, it's good that you did it. It's good that you did it. So they switching now saying that, oh, it's good that you did the class. Oh, it was very smart. But when I was doing it, they didn't believe in
Yeah.
anything I was doing. Yeah.
And Desiree, it is painful when the people you love don't believe in you. It is
Yeah.
painful. I mean, a stranger on the street can say, hey, don't do computer. Yeah, that's his business. But the
Yeah.
people that you love, when they don't believe in you, it's tough, man.
Oh yeah, it's very discouraging,
Yeah.
Yeah, even when I be helping someone, in the class, in my room, my mom would be like, "Oh, what are you doing? You're not doing anything important. I need help with this. I need help with that." So, oh, helping someone in the class, and they'll say, "Oh, what class?" I mean, that's not any real class.
Yeah.
But now they're, but now now that the offer came, it's like a whole different thing. Like they're just in shock and they feel somewhat like ashamed, So I think, they're trying to, make up for, how they're acting, during the process of me taking this class. And yeah, it hurts when people don't believe in you, but if you let that, stop you from reaching your goals, the same ones who didn't
You,
believe in you are the same ones who are going to say, brag about you. Now my mom's going to church telling, people, oh yeah, my son just got a, six-figure job. She went to church the week after I got my offer, went to church just bragging, just bragging, So, the same ones who don't believe in you are going to be the ones, bragging about you, once you make
yes.
it.
Wow.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, let's not talk too much. Let them not hear our talk here.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Congratulations,
thank
brother.
you.
And you're still very young looking at your face. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
you still have a very long way to go in this field. This is just the beginning, Desiree. Okay?
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Prof.
Now
Yeah, thank you
this
for everything.